see what happens with Jed Spence. Savinho now. Let's talk about Savinho, the never-ending story of Savinho. So, Fabrizio Romano, he absolutely must have made a killing on this story. He probably hopes it never ends because he can just keep tweeting about it. He says, direct talks between Tottenham and City for Savinho have been ongoing for weeks. He's the clear top target, as reported since June. Tottenham remain confident. Deal depends on Man City's plan for replacement. The Daily Mail are claiming Man City are closing in on an agreement to sell Savinho to Tottenham. City have now entered the race to sign youngster Ibrahim Mbaye as a possible replacement. However, Villa, Tottenham and Leipzig are also chasing Ibrahim Mbaye, who was at the World Cup with Senegal. I don't know if you saw some appearances from him. Scored against France. I don't know if you saw the France-Senegal game. He scored in that game. So a talented youngster from PSG, a winger. Yeah, Savinho, Brian, it's the one that just keeps rumbling on. There always seems to be cryptic things happening on. Xavi posting things, Savinho posting things, seems to be hinting to be a deal close. It seems as though one that Man City are happy to do, Spurs are happy to do, and Savinho is happy to do.
Yep.
But something is holding it up. And now, Romano is now implying it's Man City getting a replacement in. But surely it's so early in the window, you would think they should find someone if they're happy to let Savinho go. Surely this one gets over the line at some point, doesn't it?
I think what's holding up this deal is Romano saying, I've still got a few million to make in tweets and quote retweets. Just stall on it a bit longer, lads. Look, Man City, when they want a player, they'll go get a player. We know this with their financial clout, even though they've got those charges hanging over them that we got told will be done by now. But obviously, for some reason, it hasn't. This is the biggest non-secret that needs to just get done. Whether Leao is still part of whatever, still jury out for a lot. I could tell, and even for me because of his output. But he'll come rejuvenated. We know that he's tricky. We know that he's talented and get past players. It's end product that he needs to work on. I would have preferred a different winger, but if this is where Spurs want to go, and like you said, this is a never-ending story. This is a deal that just needs to get over the line for the love of God and just say we can put this one to bed. Still undecided, but I'm more than prepared to have him prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm being quite clear. I really like him. I think he's a really talented winger, and I think De Zerbi is going to love him. What he brings is, I think, what De Zerbi wants, which is someone who creates chances, who plays the ball. Who takes defenders on. He creates space. He's quick, hard to handle. I think if you're looking for someone who can come in and score himself, then he ain't probably the player. But I don't think that's why we're bringing him in. I think we're bringing him in to play to do what he's doing now, which is create chances and create space for the other players. And I think he will do that. Now, do I think he can take his output to another level? The guy's only 22. I'm not saying this guy's anywhere as good as the player I'm going to mention. But I'm just going to put an example. You look at Mo Salah, where he was at 22. Yeah, he was at Basel, and that guy couldn't hit a barn door. I am telling you. I remember I watched him play against Spurs, and he was one of the worst finishers I've ever seen. He then went to Chelsea, and he couldn't finish. And it wasn't because he was a bad dribbler, he wasn't quick, he was all those things. He just couldn't finish. And it was only really when he went to Roma, when he was like 25, where that finishing ability really got it out of him, and then he became one of the best finishers you've ever seen. So players can improve and get better. But what my only point when I talk about Savinho is, I'm not talking about what he can't do, I'm talking about what he can do. And I think that's why we're bringing him in for what he does do, not what he doesn't do. But I understand the fans' frustration. We need goals. We don't have goal scorers. We need players who can put the ball back in the net. Valid points. But first of all, I still think we're going to bring in players that will do that. That's number one. That will do it, but we will help with that. Because I don't think we should be relying on only one person to score or two people to score. It should be a team thing, right? That's what the goal should be. 100%. And number two, I think people are underestimating what having De Zerbi as a manager will do for this team when it comes to creating more opportunities and having more chances to score. Last season, we were starved of just creating anything. Attacking players would have no player within 30 yards of them, and they would be running into blind alleys, and we would just be under pressure the whole time. Under De Zerbi, our current attackers, even if we didn't sign an attacker, obviously I'm not hoping this is the case. I'm just saying if in a hypothetical situation we didn't sign any other attackers, I am saying even under that scenario, we will see a better attack next season. We will see more goals being scored next season, and we will see better output and better performances from our attacking players because of the coach that we have. So I think people need to stop stressing about this guy doesn't do enough, this guy doesn't do that. I think we will see a better attack next season. And so we're not going to see what we saw last season. That's my only point.
I have to say, Simeon, the Mo Salah reference is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant. I can remember, do you know what? Strikers like Shearer, Wrighty, and the greats, even Sheringham used to say, it's not about them not taking the chances. It's about if they don't have any chances, then you worry what they're doing. And I can remember him playing against us, against Basel. He ripped us apart to get into those positions, but when he had the chances, he absolutely fluffed them. It's a great reference. You know what? It's one I hadn't thought of. It's a brilliant comparison, as in, obviously not saying Savinho is going to be a Salah, but I completely get the reference. I can agree with it wholeheartedly. And like you said, the good thing is I think we are going to get a new striker. I think that is going to get revitalised. I look at I think if Savinho and Fernandes can get kind of the chemistry that, let's say, a Wanyama and Dembele had, and marshal that back four and spread wide and cover players, it will allow those attacking players to do what they do with a bit of freedom, to know that if they lose the ball or try something, they will have cover from those behind them. And Savinho is one of those players. Do you remember, like with David Ginola, it was like, don't come back and defend because you're useless. But when we get the ball, we're going to spring it to you and you do what you do. I think Savinho has got all the technical ability and skills to tie players up in knots. Like I said, it's that finishing product, that final ball. But I do think under De Zerbi, and De Zerbi apparently has okayed this when he came in. That obviously he heard this was a rumour from the things we see on social media, and he wants the deal. So it will be a revitalised attack for me. And if he's the one, he's the one. We need a left winger, and he has the ability to play right as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's versatile. One sec. Yeah, he's versatile. He can play on both sides. I think, first of all, if we have him just in competition with Kudus on the right, imagine having Kudus run at you for an hour and then Savinho coming on off the bench, how frightening that would be. And on the flip side, imagine playing them together, how dynamic and scary that would be for oppositions to have Kudus and Savinho on either side, both very, very capable of taking on and destroying wing backs in one-on-one situations. So all of a sudden you can't double up on both sides because then you leave all that space in the middle, right, for other players to kind of exploit. So it's going to be very difficult for oppositions to know how to handle having Savinho and Kudus on either side. And I think that's the vision De Zerbi has. I think he's got this vision of having two very, very good dribblers in Savinho and Kudus and making oppositions think, putting the ball in their court, making them react to what we're doing rather than, what we were doing last season, obviously. Yep. And what I was saying before about having De Zerbi as manager, well, not just that, obviously, having the new signings in Fernandes, Tonali, Van Hecke, Senesi, having those players, Kinski, we're going to have a different ball-playing element to our football next season than last season, which is, again, going to help these attackers. So I understand that the attackers, fairly came under a lot of criticism last season for underperforming and not being good enough, essentially. But I think we are going to see. I think we are going to see more from them this season, and I'm really confident in that. And I think Savinho is going to really help with that as well. He's going to help bring out the output out of these attackers we currently have, and hopefully the new ones as well that we sign.
I think what we know is compared to last season for certain, we're going to be a lot more offensive. We're going to be a lot more attack minded. We have players like Senesi and Van Hecke who, if Porro makes those runs down there, we know a majority of the time they're going to find him. He can go and do what he does. Then you got Tonali and Fernandes, the shield. Then you've got obviously the wingers that might come in. And the great thing is, if Kudus isn't being effective on the right, you can push him into the 10 and move Savinho over, or even do that to start a game. Like you said, the attacking options that will open up to us with a player like him. Like I said, I'm a massive fan of Nusa. I really am such a huge fan of Nusa or Ndai from Everton, who can play across the front three. But again, this is a player that instantly comes in and makes our team better. Instantly. And offers so much more. He's one of those players that, like you said, it's been so long since we've had those players that when he gets the ball, you're at the edge of your seat, like Ginola or someone that you think something magical could happen. And this man could, or this youngster could deliver it.
All right, so let's see how it goes, because it seems to be edging closer every day. But we still haven't climaxed yet, so we'll see. Let's see. All right, Summerville, Ben Jacobs. Let's talk about Crysencio Summerville. Are you glad to have that mental image in your head there, right?
Oh, mate, delighted on Saturday afternoon to have that in my head.
Tottenham Hotspur are considering a move of West Ham winger Crysencio Summerville. Spurs want a starting attacker with Savinho, still their main target. Man United and Roma also interested in the 30 million rated Summerville. Obviously, a player who had a very good World Cup. He obviously plays now for relegated West Ham, who have just announced Jared Bowen is staying at their football club. I think we all know Summerville was always going to be on his way out. We've spoken a lot about him. Would you want Summerville and Savinho? Is that enough on the wing? Or would you, if we're going for Savinho, do you want a different winger?
I'd rather a Leao and a Savinho, if I'm being honest. Your brilliant piece with Iggy really, really, really won me over to Leao. Like, I wasn't convinced of him, but Iggy's fantastic when it comes to Italian football, especially AC Milan. Summerville had a very, very good World Cup. I remember, again, another watch-along I did with you, West Ham. He tore us to pieces, didn't he, in that 1-0 at the lane. Was it 1-0 or was it 2-1? I can't remember. We lost anyway. I think it was 1-0, wasn't it? Or 2. That's how interesting the games were.
Sorry, which game?
The one when West Ham beat us at home.
Yeah, 2-1.
2-1, there you go. So he was phenomenal in that game. He had a great couple of appearances for Holland in the World Cup, which I was like, oh, that's good to see from him. I think maybe there's a place to develop. I don't know. It's just, for me, there's just something about this one that I don't know if it's because of the West Ham link, but I wanted Fernandes. I think Spurs could do better. I really do.
Yeah, I think so as well. I do like Summerville, though. I do think if we added Summerville with Savinho, obviously that does add quality and depth to our wingers. But for me, I feel like Summerville does probably offer a bit more goal threat, but he still offers too much of a similar kind of threat to what Savinho and Kudus offer. I want someone who really offers that kind of elite level goal threat or a much higher level goal threat than Summerville. So if we're already compromising on that with Savinho, which I'm fine to do, then the next player has to be someone whose kind of main thing is getting goals and assists and being really effective in the final third. And I think Summerville maybe has the potential to be that, but he's just not that yet. So I wouldn't want to go with him, but I do like him, and I'm not going to be like, I wouldn't be like angry or annoyed if we got him, because I do like him, but I think Tottenham, if we've got the budgets that we seem to be talking about and all that kind of stuff, yeah, we should be going for someone for a higher price tag probably than him.
He played very well for West Ham in their rise to try and get out of relegation. Then obviously they fell off, thank God, towards the end of the season. But again, like we're talking with Summerville, he gets into opportunities and then the final decision, the shot, the cross, whatever, is just not there. But then what I will say is, in the couple of games I did get to catch the Netherlands, he really impressed me. He really impressed me more than I'm going to say Cody, the Liverpool and Dutch guy, because I keep saying his surname wrong. I don't know how, but I have a problem. I say Gapco or something completely different to what it is. So Cody, the Dutch player that plays for Liverpool currently, I was more impressed with Summerville. I know Gapco got the goals, but Cody. See, I get into
Connor Gakpo. Connor Gecko.
I brought this on myself. But Summerville, I think, has the more potential. Well, obviously at the age, but like you said, he is very, very similar to a Kudus, to a Savinho, and we want that. Like I was saying before, with the left wing, I want someone like a Perisic who whips that ball in with quality. That's what I think we're missing from this winger's situation. A guy that can whip a ball in with quality and contribute to goals.
I think someone like, let's say, like a Son or a Rashford, you just know, like on a breakaway, you play him in, he's going to burst away from his defender and he's going to go for goal. Yep. He's going to be direct. If you're facing a low block and he's got a moment to cut inside and whip a shot in from the edge of the box, he'll do it and will do it with quality. That kind of little magic moments. That's what I think we need. I think Savinho doesn't really offer that. Kudus doesn't really offer that. Tell right now doesn't really offer that. So the next guy, that's the kind of one. I think Gakpo has the potential to offer that. The problem with him is he's like too much like trying to do that, if you know what I mean. So he's quite a selfish player. So every time he gets the ball, he's going for goal. Every time he's looking for a hero moment. Sometimes you need to slow things down. Sometimes you just need to bring other players into play and be patient. He's not very good at that. But he does. The thing is with Gakpo is he'll have 5 shots and 10 attempted crosses, and he'll probably get 1 goal or 1 assist. But he'll waste the other chances. Whereas there are some players these are the top level players who might have 3 shots and 1 of them will go in, and then that's kind of where that's the sweet spot. Gakpo's not quite there yet, where his efficiency is at premium. That's why people get frustrated with him, because he's very, very wasteful. But I still think I might prefer Gakpo to Summerville given our squad.
I don't want him just because of his name now, because it gets me in tongue twisters, and I just can't do it. I can't come on the show all season.
Now we have to get him. Yeah, now we have to get him.
I'll be done for. I will just have to call him Cody. But yeah, I will say this guy, we're talking about Summerville, has got a lot of talent, but I think he is too similar to what we've got, like you said, Sim. So it would be a no from me. But again, if Spurs sign him, Zerbi's got a plan, he's got a vision, and we'll see what he can do with him.
Last but not least, we are going to talk about some interesting stuff about Jamie Donley. Obviously, a player who was on loan at Oxford last season, a young player, 21 years of age, Northern Ireland international. So there was a guy, I didn't even write down his name. He's like a PR and talent manager on Twitter, on X. He claims Tottenham will listen to offers for Northern Ireland attacking midfielder Jamie Donley this summer. Donley has already spent loan spells at Stoke and Oxford, and Tottenham's Will Lancashire also is attracting interest from Southampton. But Lily White Rose did quite an interesting update on this. Obviously, Lily White Rose, he's quite in there with the academy. He knows a lot of the players within the club, but the young players, that is. He says Tottenham THFC understand this is not the position at the moment at all. Jamie is one of the few players who have been training, who was on loan last season, who is continuing to train with the first team, not with the under-21s, and Zerbi appears to rate him. So that's quite an interesting update. Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying Donley's definitely be part of the first team next season, he'll be starting, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, we had this interesting conversation about club-trained players. And about how we can fix that issue. Well, if he does rate Donley, and we can find a space for him, especially right now, there is maybe a space in the kind of number 10 position because Madison ACL, Javi ACL, Decky, Patella, a lot of problems there. So he could help lighten the load. There's some suggestions. Could he help at fullback? But we have so many left backs. I don't see what we need him to do that. Could he maybe play a false 9 position under Zerbi? Look, I don't know what position we would necessarily find for him. What I do know is when he was on the Lane Orient, this guy is a wicked left foot, and he was scoring goals against Man City, He was having great games against good level opposition. He showed he can play at a better level. Obviously, last season at Stoke, it was a bit of a disaster. Oxford was a bit up and down with injuries and stuff. But it's a tough one to know. Obviously, this guy has a great left foot. I think in terms of his technical ability, that left foot, I think he could probably play in the Premier League. But I think when it comes to work rate, physicality, those kind of things, obviously, those things you always question with young players, and that's where maybe he needs to prove himself. But it'll be very interesting if he is a technical player, and Zerbi is known for bringing in some of these young players. I remember, I think Jack Hinchelwood, didn't he come through during Zerbi's time? There's been a few other young players, Ferguson maybe. I think maybe he would, Zerbi was a big part of that. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if he can find a space with Donley and what he thinks of him, because if we could find him and Lancashire a position, then that solves a lot of the club-trained and homegrown problems.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this could be brilliant man management by Zerbi, because obviously he left Leyton Orient buzzing, thinking life is brilliant, I'm destined for greatness or to progress. And obviously last season was an absolute mammoth disappointment for him, both at Stoke, which was the wrong move for him to go to Stoke, and then up and down at Oxford with injuries. So a guy that needs a bit of love around him and to be told, yeah, you're worth something, you've got a future. That could be Zerbi going, right, I believe in you, I have faith. From what we've seen again with videos, I've seen that one finish that he's buried into the top left-hand corner. Again, this is just training and pre-season. We all know there is a talent. Like I said, he's got a wonderful left foot. And we're going on at the moment about selling these youngsters and where's the pathway. And then this could be one. This could be one. And I think the good thing is, I remember a couple of years ago with Alfie when he had a great season under Ange, and then we sent him out to Belgium. This could be a real key moment in Jamie Donley's Tottenham career. I think he can be a very, very good player. I love a left footer. I'm left footed myself when I played in my playing days. He's great at dead ball. He's got lots of potential. And like I said, if we are getting rid of these players and we are going to start promoting the odd one here and there, you can't go much wrong with a talented left footer in Jamie Donley.
It's going to be interesting to see if he really does rate him. And I guess we'll learn more over the next few weeks with pre-season games coming, starting to now happen and filter through. If he goes on the tour, we're going to learn a lot about who does and doesn't go on the tour and stuff like that. I would be very excited about the prospect of bringing Donley through the door. Whether he's truly Premier League ready, obviously I don't know that. I have my doubts about that, but definitely from what I saw from him and Leyton Orient, and especially remember that goal from the halfway line he scored against City. Moments like that just make you think there's a hell of a talent in that left foot. And if you can harness it, and if you can make use of that, maybe he does have a place here. And yeah, it'll be great if we can kind of silence a lot of people talking about letting go of youngsters by promoting some youngsters that we didn't expect to be promoted. Like if we give Lancashire a shot, if we give Donley a shot, that would be amazing. And that would give, obviously only do if they're good enough, but that would just be a way of kind of placating those fans who are worried about where the opportunities for young players are going to come from for signing all these players.
So what I will say with this, Tim, is obviously we've gone on. You look at these bigger teams and our teams, they bleed through every couple of years or whatever. They do it. Spurs have done it for so long where they just chuck them all in at the deep end. You look at when we had Dele Alli. Dele Alli could flourish because he had eliteness all around him. He had players that would, if he was having a bad game, that would see him through things. Now, let's just say a Carabao Cup tie comes along. Why not play Donley in a Carabao Cup game, but not just field the youngsters, play 7 or 8 first teamers around him in that game, so he can be coached through the game. He can have reliable people behind him or in front of him to develop and give him the confidence that if he messes up, there's people around him and not all eyes are on him. And just look what Liverpool have done with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Arsenal did with Smith Rowe, Saka, and all the youngsters they brought through at the time. They did it gradually. They had a couple that they focused on, and they're like, right, we're going to submerge you in the first team. We're going to give you your opportunities here and there, and we're going to play you around a nucleus of a strong team, not just loads of youngsters or fringe players, off you go. So if it is Jamie Donley and Lakeshire, I'm a massive fan of Lakeshire. I really do rate. Whether he goes out on loan this season, whatever we do, don't sell him. Whatever we do, I think he will be a very, very good goal scorer for us. But if it's Donley and Lancashire that they say, right, you're the two we're going to focus on, and they give them game time with a strong squad around them, why can't they develop?
Absolutely spot on. I think, it's going to be a lot of to learn during this preseason. But let's see how it goes. But I thought that was a very interesting update from Lily Rose, and I for one, I'm all for it. I'm all for giving youngsters opportunities if we think they're good enough. And let's hope that as much as we're excited about all these big money signings and all these players coming in, we can also be just as excited about maybe Lancashire, Moore, Donley, all getting maybe a chance that we didn't expect. But look, Brian, long update with you. It always is, because we just love to chat. But
We do.
appreciate you coming on the show as always. We'll see you very, very soon. Back in the studio on Monday. I'm sure we'll probably do another update tomorrow if there's things breaking. Enjoy the third, fourth place playoff tomorrow. Tonight, sorry. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.